Hey there, I'm Andrea Olson with Go Diaper-free, and today I'm going to be recording podcast episode number 73, Forget About Goals. This is part one of our exploration of how to apply atomic habits with EC, how tiny changes can massively impact your baby's potty habits. It's going to be super exciting. It's about the book by James Clear, and I'll talk more about it in the episode. So here we go with episode 73, and you can check it out at godiaperfree.com/73. All right, let's do this. Welcome to the Go Diaper-free podcast, where we're all about helping you stop depending on diapers as early as birth. I'm your host, Andrea Olson, author and mom of 5 E-Seed babies. This is episode number 73, Forget About Goals. We're going to talk about Atomic Habits, this book by James Clear, and how it applies to elimination communication and potty learning, how tiny changes can massively impact your baby's potty habits, and also affect your long-term outcome with EC and potty training, like will you fail or will you succeed? So I'm very much looking forward to this short series where we explore little things that I've learned while reading James's book. You can find a link to his book and anything else that I mentioned in today's episode over at godiaperfree.com/73. So the first thing I want to talk about today, if you get the book and you want to look along with me, it's on page 23. Basically in EC, I've been doing this for about 10 years now, you guys. We have a lot of goals that we have inside our own hearts and heads that we don't really share with other people, like, hey, I want my child to be out of diapers by 12 months, like Andrea's was, or 9 months, or 17 months. We have graduation goals. We have age goals, timelines in our heads. And sometimes, and we always get warned about this, our goals take front seat and they can actually sabotage us. And I'm really curious about what is it that causes some people to slide off the wagon of doing EC and end up having to potty train later. And what is it that enables other people to enjoy the success and the good outcome of EC being easy to complete effortlessly, like most of my children have been. All of them have been pretty seamless in completing. And I feel like in the beginning of James' book, Atomic Habits, which is what our topic is for the next few episodes, he talks about what we're focusing on is the wrong thing. That not that we're wrong in what we're trying to achieve, but that we are focusing on the wrong thing. So today we're going to talk about his section called Forget About Goals and Focus on Systems Instead. And I just want to start out by flipping over to his page 27, and I want to just define atomic habits. This phrase means a regular practice or routine that is not only small and easy to do, but also the source of incredible power, a component of a system of growth. Atomic habits are not just any old habits. If they're little, they don't necessarily count as atomic habits. They are habits, little habits that are part of a larger system. They are the building blocks of remarkable results. And the way that I teach EC in my free Easy Start Guide or in my book or all over this podcast and blog is to give you guys little bitty building blocks, things that you can do that will give you a lot of results. So excited to talk about this today. Again, we have goals of graduation and everything, and Diaper-Free Baby back in the day would always say, hey, EC is about communication, not completion. If you focus on completion, you're probably going to cause undue pressure on your baby, and it's probably going to backfire, potty pauses, etc. So I do agree with that, but I also think we acknowledge, and I say this in my book over and over again, we do have an end result and desire, and we deserve to have completion. We deserve to say, okay, it's time for me, the parent, to stop putting this child in diapers. The thing is, there is an end result, and we are aware of it. But during the process of doing EC, well before you're at that goal of, hey, at 14 months, I want to be out of diapers, we don't want to focus on that outcome. We want to focus on the process, not the outcome. So just like with reading, we teach our kids the alphabet, and eventually they learn the song, and eventually it all comes out in the same order. And then eventually they start to recognize words and sounds on the page. And the end goal is we want fluent readers. But during learning the ABC song, we aren't hyper-focusing on you're going to be a fluent reader because of this song. No, we're enjoying singing the song with our children. So that's kind of the gist of it. So again, in the next few episodes, we'll dig into the atomic habits, the specific little tiny things we can do to make EC and potty learning easier in our households. Today, let's discuss focusing on the system, not on the goal. And this is a real big mindset and philosophy thing with starting any kind of EC or potty learning with your child. If you've been listening to this podcast for a while now, maybe you're already in the thick of it. Maybe you're wanting to wrap it up as well. This applies to every stage of EC and potty training. So let's talk about this. James calls it forget about goals, focus on the systems instead. He says that the prevailing wisdom in our culture is to set specific actionable goals. You've heard it a million times. I mean, I come from Toyota. That was my first job out of school. And you want to make SMART goals. There are specific, measurable, attainable, something else, and timely. That's our focus as a culture. So James began to realize that his results, whether he failed or succeed, had very little to do with the goals that he set and nearly everything to do with the systems that he followed. And he defines goals as the results that you want to achieve, and systems are the processes that lead to those results. So an example is if you're a coach, your goal might be to win a game. Your system is the way you pick your players, you manage your other coaches, and you practice with your team. So with EC, the goal, or potty training, the goal is, the results are, we want diaper-free children, babies. The system is, this process that leads to this result of diaper freedom is doing day-to-day EC. So let's focus on EC with the next few parts here. We have the 4 easy catches, waking up, the potty tunity when they're pooping, at every diaper change, transition times. We have day-to-day EC where we're aware of the 4 roads to potty 4 roads to potty time, which are the baby signals, the baby's natural timing, transition times, and your own intuition. So there are all these little things that are part of the process of doing day-to-day EC and pottying your baby. And these can all be broken down into tiny little habits that we'll talk about over the next few episodes. But that's the system. The system is doing day-to-day EC. The goal is, I want a diaper-free child. So the question now is, if you completely ignored your goals and focused only on your system, would you still succeed and achieve that goal? I say absolutely yes. This is the way that I've done EC. I only focus on the system. And yeah, I might have it in my mind around walking. We're going to stop using diapers. Like Twyla has only taken 4 steps in the last 6 weeks, and that's all she's doing. So I don't feel like it's time, but I know that that's part of the process, but I don't have like this hard end date in mind. I completely ignore my goals and I focus only on my system with all my kids, and I have still succeeded with them being diaper-free at an age between 9 and 17 months, which works for us. So James totally says, I think you would as well. He gives us again the analogy of sports. So the goal of any sport is to finish with the best score, but it would be ridiculous to spend the whole game staring at the scoreboard. The only way to actually win is to get better each day. If you want better results, then forget about setting goals. Focus on your system instead. So he also goes on to say that goals are really great for setting a direction, but systems are best for making progress. And a lot of you who have stopped doing EC or feel like you're wanting to stop or you're just kind of stunted right now, you're not making progress with EC. Yes, you have a good goal, you have good direction, but you don't have a really good system underneath you for making that progress. I think you'd agree. A handful of problems arise when you spend too much time thinking about your goals and not enough time designing your systems. That's what James says. So we're going to go through the 4 problems that he says come along with focusing on goals instead of the whole process, the system. That when we spend too much time thinking about, I'm going to be diaper-free at 14 months, we do not spend enough time designing, how are we going to get there? What are we going to do today to make this happen? What is our process? So the first problem with being goal-oriented is that winners and losers all have the same goals. The person who falls off the EC wagon and the person who succeeds, maybe both of their goals are to be diaper-free between 12 and 18 months. The difference is the one who implements a system of continuous small improvements will achieve success. So, for example, one person is winging it off of information they found for free off the internet. The other person is invested in my book and my mini courses and is totally educated about EC. This person, the second person with a system, will be more likely to achieve their goal because in my books, I teach about these continuous little small steps, things that you can do along the way. This system also includes support from a community and fail-safes. If this doesn't work, try this. And it sets a really good foundation for a focused process. This is a process. Hey, be prepared. EC is a process, and this is what it could look like. So this solid foundation creates resiliency and helps a parent stay the course. And I think James is saying kind of the same thing. Like, yeah, people who win and people who lose have the same goals, but the ones with a system are the ones that come out ahead. So the second problem with being goal-oriented, he says, is achieving a goal is only a momentary change. I love this one. When you solve problems at the result level, like we've reached our goal, you only solve them temporarily. In order to improve for good for the long haul, you need to solve problems at the systems level. So yeah, we've got a problem and we fix one thing, but the whole thing is kind of broken because we don't know what we're doing. That could be one thing. Or like, hey, we're diaper-free. Yay, we've reached our goals. But we never really set a foundation or a system to back ourselves up, or we don't have any community or people to ask for advice. So then after that diaper freedom happens, we've got a huge increase in accidents and don't know what to do. If this is you, it's because not your fault. It's because you lack a system to catch you when you fall. The third problem with being goal-oriented is that goals restrict your happiness. You guys, I love this one so much. How many of you have said, once I reach my goal, then I'll be happy. Once I lose 20 pounds, then I'll be happy. Once I write an article that gets posted on Huffington Post, I'm going to be successful. Whatever it is for you. The problem with goals first mentality is that you're totally putting happiness off until the next milestone instead of living in happiness. Goals make an either-or conflict. Either you achieve your goal and are successful, or you fail and you're a disappointment. It's black and white. It's unlikely that your actual path with EC will match the exact journey that you had in mind when you set out. And James says it makes no sense to restrict your happiness to just one scenario when there are so many paths to success. And that is so true, you guys, with EC as well. A systems-first mentality provides the antidote. So when you fall in love with the process rather than the product, doing EC day to day is what we love, rather than falling in love with I'm going to be diaper-free at 14 months. You don't have to wait to give yourself permission to be happy. You can be satisfied anytime your system is running, which in EC terms, you can be satisfied anytime you have an awareness of doing EC in your house, even if you're currently feeling like a failure, it's okay. A system can be successful in so many different forms, not just the one you first envisioned. So how do we apply this to EC? If your EC journey does not look like Andrea Olson's, or yours doesn't look like you thought it would, that's okay. A system is a lot more lenient than just having a hard and fast goal. Your journey can and will differ and will look beautifully different from mine and others. And then lastly today, our fourth problem with being goal-oriented about EC and anything in life, goals are at odds with long-term progress. I am just going to read you 2 paragraphs from his book, as animated as I can, and then I'm gonna chime in about how this applies to EC, and I hope that this gives you a little bit of a paradigm shift today. That's my hope. Okay, so James writes, finally, a goal-oriented mindset can create a yo-yo effect. Many runners work hard for months, but as soon as they cross the finish line, they stop training. The race is no longer there to motivate them. Kind of like with EC, right? When all of your hard work is focused on a particular goal, what is left to push you forward after you achieve it? This is why many people find themselves reverting to their old habits after accomplishing a goal. Like if you're potty training an older child, you reach that goal and then everything falls apart because you're no longer motivated for this bigger picture thing. You revert to using diapers and try again later. So I'll read the second paragraph. The purpose of setting goals is to win the game. The purpose of building systems is to continue playing the game. It's the process. True long-term thinking is goal-less thinking, goal-free. It's not about a single accomplishment, and EC isn't either. It's about this cycle of endless and continuous improvement and refinement. Ultimately, it's your commitment to the process that will determine your progress. And this process of EC, you guys, and these are my words here, is this building of a deep connection with your baby. It's the building of this beautiful two-way communication. It's learning your baby on all the levels, including potty needs. It's building trust. We're also talking about this process of day-to-day habits. We're not doing a thing. EC isn't just a thing. This is a way of life, a way of being, and it is a long-term plan. You are teaching good hygiene skills from as early as birth to 18 months. That's what EC is all about. So I think that it's important to know that when we are goal-oriented, we're not looking at the big picture, but when we are focused on loving the process, even loving the ugly and challenging parts of EC, that's where things become a lot more joyful. And actually, that's where we see progress with EC or potty training alike. You know, my focus is always EC, but potty training, everything I say here also applies to that, obviously. So to conclude, if you're having trouble with EC or potty training, the problem isn't you, the problem is your system. I would like to invite you, if you don't have it already, to get my free easy start guide for EC or my free 3-day potty training primer, and to begin to get a system under your belt so that you will stop having problems with EC or potty training. If you want to take it to another level, get one of my books. You do not rise to the level of your goals, James says. You fall to the level of your system. So basically that means if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to fall farther, and many people give up and fail. So you need to have something really certain and good foundation, not just winging it, if this is you. Again, atomic habits are regular practice or routine that's not only small and easy to do, but also the source of incredible power, a component of the system of growth. So in the following episodes on this podcast, I'm so excited, we will apply more of the stuff from Atomic Habits, this book by James Clear, to EC and potty training, and which atomic habits specifically will help each of us commit to a system of potty use that will bring us and our babies joy and make this easier and finishable, right? If the process sucks, why would you want to keep doing it? Why would you want to keep doing EC if it's terrible every single day? That's because you're focused on the goal, not the process. And that's where we need to love the process and not be focused on completion every single day. 2 small examples before I begin of what to expect in the next episodes. My new habit of going to the gym 3 days a week is not go to the gym every morning, 3 days a week. It is put on your gym shoes and your clothes and get in the car. So that is my atomic habit that I've cultivated for making gym a reality. For going to do yoga in my living room. I do not say I'm going to do yoga in my living room twice a week. I say I'm going to get my mat out and unroll it onto the floor and open my computer. That is my atomic habit that allows the habit of yoga, consistent yoga, to happen. So again, we're not focusing on the goals, but building a simple, lasting system. We will be looking at the atomic habits, the tiny little things you can do over the next episode or 2. I'm not sure yet how many episodes we'll do with this, but I want to give you some really specific takeaways. But for today, hopefully the big takeaway is if you're having trouble with EC, the problem isn't you, the problem is your system. You're focusing on the end goal and not the process, so stop that right now. If you have any questions for me about today's episode, just leave them over there on the blog. Go diaper-free.com/73, and I would love to talk to you there. Meanwhile, definitely subscribe and leave a review if you feel like you want other people to learn about elimination communication over here on iTunes. And thank you so much for being here. I'm Andrea Olson, and this has been the Go Diaper Free podcast at godiaper-free.com. I'll see you next time. And that's it. If you guys have any comments or questions, please leave them below. Definitely pick up James' book if you want to look more at it, or listen to the audiobook, which is way more parent-friendly, I feel. And hit subscribe and the bell, and I'll let you know when my next episode or video comes out. Thanks.